Every time a language model writes a word, it isn't just picking the obvious next token. Under the hood, it produces a probability over the entire vocabulary, tens of thousands of options, and then something has to choose how to turn those numbers into an actual word. Grab the single most likely token every single time, and the text turns flat and repetitive, the same stock phrases over and over. Roll the dice across the whole distribution instead, and it occasionally blurts out something bizarre that wrecks the sentence. Today we're looking at top case sampling, one of the oldest and simplest ways to strike a balance between those two failure modes. Now, to see why top K exists at all, look at the two extremes it sits between. Greedy decoding always grabs the single highest probability token, no randomness at all. It sounds safe, but it's the reason models loop and repeat themselves. Ask a question and you often get the same stock phrasing, because the most likely word is rarely the interesting one. Predictable, and honestly a little dull. Sampling from the full distribution swings the other way. Every token in the vocabulary keeps a shot at being chosen, even the ones with almost no probability. Most of the time it's fine, but every so often it reaches deep into that long tail and picks something nonsensical, and a single weird word can derail the whole sentence. Here's the actual recipe, and it's refreshingly simple. It's really just 4 moves at each step. First, the model hands you its next token probabilities across the whole vocabulary. This is the raw distribution. Thousands of candidates, most of them carrying vanishingly small weight that we're about to throw away. Then you keep only the K most likely tokens and discard everything else. Pick the top 40, say, and that long, unreliable tail simply disappears. Whatever nonsense was hiding down there can no longer be selected. Next, you renormalize. Those surviving 40 tokens no longer sum to 1 on their own, since you just threw away all the probability that lived in the tail. So you rescale them to be a proper probability distribution again, just among the short list, so the draw is well defined. Finally, you sample from that short list. You still get genuine randomness and creativity, but it's confined to plausible choices. Temperature often rides alongside this step, sharpening or flattening the odds before the draw. So let's boil it down to the 3 ideas that actually matter here. This method truncates the distribution to the top K tokens. Everything outside that short list is off the table, which is the whole point, cutting away the improbable options before you ever roll the dice. Renormalize and sample. Because you rescale the survivors into a clean distribution, you preserve useful randomness while staying inside the model's confidence zone. Creativity without the chaos. A fixed K is the catch. When the model is very sure, 40 tokens is too many. When it's uncertain, 40 is too few. That rigidity is exactly why top P, or nucleus sampling, using a probability threshold instead, is often preferred today. All right, let's lock in the essentials worth taking with you. This strategy sits between greedy decoding, which repeats itself, and sampling from the whole vocabulary, which occasionally picks bizarre tokens off the long tail. It's the practical middle ground that most early language models reached for. At each step, it keeps only the K highest probability tokens, renormalizes them, and samples from that shortlist. That preserves creativity while cutting off the unreliable tail, and temperature is usually applied right alongside it to tune how sharp or flat the shortlist odds are before the draw. Its weakness is that K is fixed regardless of the model's confidence, which is why top P sampling often wins. Want more of these decoding ideas unpacked in plain English? That's exactly what we do over at Standarity.com.